Oh, it's
Hey guys, we're live. Happy Thursday.
Happy
Happy
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. I am so excited for our West Coast friends joining us. They're coming in hot from the car. I mean, this couple, they can bring energy from anywhere. I love it. They don't need much of an introduction, though. I have to say, guys, and you're both humble, but you might possibly be one of America's favorite couples right now. I don't know.
What?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know.
What is wrong with America?
We don't. That's another episode. Okay, we need another episode.
Oh gosh.
But they don't need much introduction. Dave Hollis and Heidi Powell, guys,
Oh.
welcome.
Thank you
Thank
for
you very
having us, Reagan.
much.
We're so happy to be here.
I'm
Sorry
so
to be in the
excited.
car.
Hey,
And
but
literally, you said coming in hot. It's like 110 degrees outside, so we are hot.
we're West Coasters. You're in Arizona, right? So it's different level. It's just different level. I'm in North Carolina, so I consider myself, a Southern girl, but you guys have me beat. There's no comparison.
It is hot here, and in Texas, it's just as hot.
It's hot, but it feels a little warmer here every time we're here.
does.
We're coming in from the mobile office. I'll be honest. Like, one of the weirder things that happens in our life is that we're just on meeting after meeting in these actual seats, in this actual car, because this is a place that is safe from all the other things that could get to us. I mean, we can park in a parking lot anywhere, and we are just fine. Thank you very much.
You guys can just bring it wherever you're at. So I love it. 8 kids between the both of you. So you're the epitome of the real deal of parenting, everything you both juggle. So I'm so excited. And you know what I love? And I want to let everybody watching know this. Heidi and Dave, we did not send over a list of questions for their agent to look at. They don't know what I'm going to ask them. So this is totally off the cuff. So this is
we also don't even have agents, so it works out even better.
You're people's people.
Yeah, here I actually like off the cuff. Like, don't tell me what
me
you're
too.
gonna ask me, and like let's be real.
Let's roll the dice.
Be a real deal.
And that's how you guys are. And it's so much more organic. So you guys have no idea what's coming. So this could be fun, right?
Let's go.
It could be fun or destructive.
Right. Or Heidi and Dave will be like, wait, Reg, we gotta get going here. No. So really, we're just gonna jump right in. I mean, so many people follow you both, and a lot of people know your story of how you met. And what I want to know is, when did you both realize? I know you met when, Heidi, you were going to record a podcast with Dave that never made it to air.
Yes,
right?
Correct.
As God was laughing, but it brought you guys together. But when did you two know that this is it? You know what? This is my person. This is going to be complicated. It might not be easy, but this is my person. And so when was that moment? Was it that day that you were like?
So I have an answer, and my answer might be very different from yours.
Roll it. Come
do you want
on.
Me to go first?
I got my answer too.
I'm super interested to know what you have to say.
Well, here's the thing. I think I'll go then. I mean, like, the circumstances under which we met had me in no way considering the possibility of dating a human being, let alone this human being. And
what does that mean, let alone this human being?
Someone that is as beautiful and as wonderful and as amazing as you.
Oh.
I, like, at the time was just like incapable of sentences, let alone contemplating partnership. And the reality coming out of our first meeting was, the thing that made that meeting so meaningful was the shared experience and the way that I felt like I could be seen in what I was going through, because of her having walked in a lot of ways through something very, very similar, but just being a little bit further down the path. And so my ability to feel normal in my struggle and okay and affirmed in my grief was life-giving. And it wasn't like, oh, we should make out kind of reaction, though we should. It was not. It was really like, thank you for making me feel normal for the first time in months of this experience where I've just felt nothing but. And so from there it was weeks and weeks of texts, of songs, and hey, I saw this thing and I was thinking of you, or hey, I'm experiencing this emotion. Is it normal? that led to something that felt like, oh, you could be a person, like a person. And
okay, so when was the moment that you knew I was your person?
Well, we ended up going on a trip where the context of the invitation was not that of dating. It was, do you want to escape the confines of us being in our divorce world and just leave this place for a second and not be in that? And we were there for a handful of days, and that we did not get on each other's nerves.
Right.
It was almost like if you can carpool with someone from Los Angeles to Lake Havasu, if you can drive, from El Paso to Austin.
If you can endure a week in California with kids,
right? The fact that we could spend time together before we were like officially dating and not tire of each other and not like feel like, oh my goodness, I got to get away from this person. I was like, man, there might actually be something here. That was a super gift. Yeah.
Okay. So I can I answer now? Am I good?
Absolutely.
So I knew, when we first met, I knew within the first few days, maybe day, that he was a person that I wanted in my life forever, right? But to me, those are two different things. Dave knows by now, I have a lot of people who are lifers. Like I have friends who are family to me and they are there forever, male and female, and they're wonderful and they make up who I am and who my kids are and what I'm creating in this world, and kind of help what I'm contributing to the world as well, right? I did know right away in the midst of our texting back and forth, one of the things I loved about him the most is he was the one man. I had been going through my divorce for over about a year when I met you.
Yeah.
And the world didn't know until much later. But he was the one man that was not threatening to me, not trying to flirt, he didn't have an angle in any other way than that. He just wanted to have someone to talk to. And that was amazing because most single women do have a hard time with that. You don't know who people are. He was very raw, authentic, vulnerable, all of the things that I need in a friend. I didn't know it would be like it was until I will say, and I remember telling you this the week after, New Year's. We were dating before that, but dating is different than knowing that someone's your person, right? Forever. Right. And New Year's Eve, remember, that was the first time we spent a little bit of time with Noah, and I saw how you were a father, which is so important to me. And we had spent a lot of time together. There was a realization that trip where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my person.
That's awesome.
Like this is, and we loved each other already, but again, that level of knowing was New Year's. We've been through a lot together.
Yeah, that's good.
It was leveling up. I love it.
Did you know that? Did you remember that?
I didn't know that. This is good.
I mean, the thing is,
have Reagan come hang out on date night.
Reagan, you should get in the backseat of our car.
I can come. We can make that happen. So, I love that. And what I love about you both is, especially in today's world, you're so authentic and you're so real. And as busy as you guys are, you prioritize your faith, you prioritize your family. And so, walk us through that. We have so many parents. So we have 8 to 16 million parents that visit us every week. A lot of them are trying to figure out second chances, new beginnings, starting over, co-parenting, and how to make it work. Now, I'm sure it's not always easy, right? Nothing is. But you guys seem to really have a solid system down. So if you could give 1 or 2 pointers on how you make it work, the co-parenting and his kiddos and your kiddos, and because you both, you embody parenthood. It's just, it truly oozes from you. You're so how 8 kids. And I've heard Dave say the inn is closed. I've seen Heidi hold a few newborns, and Dave has said the inn is closed.
He does. He says it all the time.
The inn is closed.
And as much as I like to joke about how I'd love to have another, I feel like we're in a place where we have 8 kids who I want to make sure all 8 of them feel as loved on as each of the others. And so I do feel like the inn is closed for that reason, They all deserve our love.
The first thing I would say is the illusion that the internet creates in us having it figured out or all together at all times or whatever the descriptor was is also ridiculous, because it is really hard and it is something that takes a lot of work. And the way that co-parenting works now, which I'm going to argue is fantastic, is something that has very much been a work in progress over time, that has gotten better as time has gone on, but that also is just that. It's a work in progress. And so anything that you see is the byproduct, one, of, you'd had some experience in co-parenting and making things work. And so goodness gracious, I'm the beneficiary of a front row seat to so many of the things that you have learned, some of those the hard way, that have helped the way that Rachel and I have created something that works really, really well, but that is also, in the 18 months of time, taken all 18 months to get to the place where it feels like we work as well together as we do. But for me anyway, just basic respect for the way that each of these parents are going to be a part of our lives forever and ever is the foundation from which everything is created, because whether it's Chris and Derek or Rachel, we're all family. We are all family in this, and the way that they have feelings and interests and time constraints and respect that's required on all sides is where this thing starts and ends. But I think it's a huge part of why any of it has worked at all.
Yeah, and I think you're right on all of that. And I think I would add to it, there are a lot of times where I feel like I do have it figured out, in that I know that nothing's ever figured out. And truly,
Right.
I think if people I actually think I would not want my situation to be any different, but that includes the good and it includes the hard. And I am super lucky that I have, 3 exes, from Rachel to Derek and Chris, who we're going to have difficult times, but I think you have to expect that there are difficult times. Like Derek and I had more hard times than anybody. We've been co-parents now for 14 years.
Right.
But also it has created a place where we're at now, where we have a newfound respect and deeper relationship. And same with Dave and Derek, that we didn't have before. That's the result of working through. And also I know that we're still going to stumble upon challenging times. And I think people might look and see highlights and see what we're doing and how it appears and think, oh, if it doesn't look like that all the time, I'm doing it wrong. No, you're doing it right. It just right also has challenges and bumps along the way. And those challenges and bumps are the things that provide us with the opportunity to create better relationships as co-parents, better sense of respect, better boundaries,
better
which then
systems,
allow us
better
to
processes,
love each other.
better everything.
Better life for our kids. Really?
Right.
Are you okay?
I'm plugging in this phone so that we don't lose this live stream. In the middle of this live stream, I'm
That would
nervous.
be the real deal.
Honestly,
I know, it would be.
we've been on calls all day. All right, can you still hear us without that plugged in?
We're going to have to turn down the air.
We're going to plug in a different headphone. All right, this is real time. Ignore the fact that we're amateurs in a car.
No, you guys make it look easy. You're fine. You're good.
Putting on headphones. We're going to keep going. Look at this.
You guys, you're like an old married couple in there. I love it.
All right, hold on. Hello.
Check.
There we go. Perfect.
We're good.
You're good. You're good. And you know what I love, and this leads me up perfectly to my next question, is you were talking about, and it all, both of you said, it all stems from respect. But this leads me to what I love. Dave, share what's happening at Thanksgiving.
The circus
did we talk about this
is
on
coming to
live
town. We did talk about this on a live.
That's right.
I remember this.
We are because I was not aware of this, but of course, when you get divorced, you split up holidays, and
Right.
this Thanksgiving is my Thanksgiving, and as a part of it being a thing that I will host at my house, it's an open invitation, and
To anybody.
if everything, it's really truly, if you don't have a place to go on Thanksgiving, come on down. I'm hosting, but that means that we're going to be there. The 8 kids are going to be there. We've invited Derek and Chris to be there. If they want to bring someone, they're welcome. We've invited Rachel to be there. I believe she's going to bring this person that she's in a relationship with. And it is going to be chaos central in the most beautiful way.
So
and the reality is, like, I mean, actually, when I think about, like, how do I find a source for pride in the mess that has now become this beautiful new normal, having Heidi and Rachel going back and forth about a joint Halloween costume that we're all planning for Halloween is among the things where I'm like, yo, there is something that is working in this. If we can actually find a way to conspire how to make a group costume for our 8 kids, you and I, the 2 of them, I mean, like, we've got something cooked up. And that's not something I would have ever imagined was a possibility 18 months ago when this felt like it was the worst thing in the entire world. So I don't know. There's some beauty in this. And I will say this too. I don't know that I could have ever conceived of being close to Chris or being close to Derek in the way that, like, I just have a respect and rapport with them that has never one time felt adversarial, has never one time felt like I am trying to step into their role or that they in some ways could be threatened by. It's like, no, we're just this complementary. And I'm not saying that it's normal, but I just feel super grateful
like,
that.
To me, what is normal?
What's the
normal for us is this.
I also think, like, what's the alternative? Like, the alternative could be combative and nasty and weird. And it's like, man, life's too short. So anyway, I feel grateful for that.
I love that. And man, I'm just like already trying to like envision, what is this Halloween costume thing going to be like? I'm going to need pictures. I'm going to have to share.
Oh,
like, this is fantastic. No, I love it. And it's a true testament, guys. Like, you know, it's kind of like one of those moments and situations, and then God stepped in. Like, we hit our rock bottoms, right? And we're like, why is this happening? Why is this unraveling? And then God. And it's just so beautiful, right? And it shows you when you have that perseverance and when you have that faith. Dave, whoever hasn't checked out, you can order Dave's book, Built Through Courage, you know, talking about all of this together. It's just amazing what can happen, you know? It's just beautiful. And I love to see it. And I feel both of you individually and as a couple and as a family are literally, you're living proof to show what can happen from something that seems like broken and what's next. And then the most beautiful chapters are unfolding, you know?
I agree with you. And it's been said by a million people now, so I don't even know who the origin of it is. But the whole idea that life is happening for you, it's not happening to you, is something that 2 years ago when I found out, you know, divorce was the path that our marriage was going to take, or I guess ending was the path it was going to take. That was my mantra. Like, I couldn't understand how, I couldn't understand why. I mean, I could understand how because I was inside of a marriage that I knew wasn't super healthy, but it still was scary. And so this big challenge going through yet again, another identity crisis, because every time, anyone that's been through a divorce, there's a major identity crisis that you go through, whether you choose it or you don't. And just that repetitive thought of, life is like all of this is happening for me. It's not happening to me. And I don't know why right now. And even reminding myself that the harder it gets, the harder it feels, the better it's going to be on the other side of this. All I need to do is persevere and keep putting one foot in front of the others. And some days, one foot in front of the other for me was not doing hardly anything besides just showing up for my kids.
Right.
But truly, it's not like an overnight, like, oh my gosh, I'm happy. But like over time, it's like looking back, it's like, wow, what a wild ride that has led me exactly to where I know I'm supposed to be right now. Yeah. That I wouldn't have otherwise been. I never would have met you.
I know.
Choose at that point, you know, like,
no, hey, we've talked about this a lot in that we both would have for the rest of our lives fought to stay inside of the marriages that the other person in our partnership decided that it was time. And it's only now in hindsight that I think we have an appreciation for the good that could come, even if there's still, I think, parts of us that would have fought to stay in.
For sure.
These are things that, hey, when life ends up handing you a deal of cards, I think
it's lemons.
When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah.
Well, they give you cards. Do you get to make a better hand with?
I think you get to bet.
You build a house of cards. Whatever the saying ends up being, the headline ends. You're right. The headline is, we sometimes get to choose the way that change will come to us, and sometimes change chooses us. And when it chooses you, you get to decide, are you going to stay down or get back up? And trust me, I agree. Like I was the cow ripkin of crying for some length of time on consecutive days, sobbing my eyes out. And yet there was more and more get back up and keep on moving and draw closer to God and lean into your health and all of the things that ended up creating what is arguably the very best version. I'm sitting here as the healthiest version of myself in my entire life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. Thank you. But
He's always been
I am here though as a byproduct of the circumstances that I didn't choose. And what's crazy is that as much as I wouldn't like to go through the last 18 months again, because man, pain stinks and I just prefer to be happy, I can still really hold with gratitude having gone through what I did because of the way it produced what it has. And so in a weird way, I know I'm not done experiencing pain in my life. I wish that you could just like, oh, the quota's full, I'm good and done.
Right.
But the beauty in some ways of having gone through my hardest year and having it become my best is that when my next hard year comes, because it's going to, at least now I have a trail of evidence that shows how much good can come from hard things in a way that might change the way I embrace that hard the next time it shows up.
I think how much good can come from it and also how much freedom can come from it. Like,
Sure.
That's what I like, because like you just said, there are things, and like had I never met you, or would I have fought to stay in my marriage? Yeah, because it wasn't like the worst thing in the world to me, right? It was a great family dynamic and everything. However, there's a sense of, on the other side of what I didn't want is a certain kind of freedom to be who I am meant to be and to be who I really am, and to be loved and accepted for that, right? That I didn't even know was a possibility inside of the marriage that I was in, because I thought I was happy. I thought it was a hard marriage, unhealthy a little, but I thought everything was. I thought I was happy until I got here, and it's like, wow, like I actually get to be who I am, and he is choosing to love me for this person,
Yeah.
good and the bad.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, to, a little more fun questions, because I know how you both just adore the other. What is your biggest pet peeve with the other one?
Do you remember when this got brought up? YouTube shoot in this car. Like I was sitting here, he was sitting there, and our camera guy in the back was like asking us random questions. And he said, all right, Dave, what's your biggest pet peeve about Heidi? And I don't even remember what it was, but he blurted out something that I'd never heard before. And I'm like, why are you telling the world and not me? What was it?
It was in long distance relationship. Yes. We have talked on the phone more in the last year than I have in the previous 40 of my entire life. But I love talking on the phone. My pet peeve was this woman loves Starbucks as much as any human on this planet. And what my pet peeve was is that a phone would ring, she would say hello, and then would say, hold on just 1 second, I have to order. And I was like, you could have called me just after the order. It would have just been fine. But it was a thing because I hadn't said it ahead of time that got me in the doghouse. And I don't blame you. I am rude that way.
Oh my God.
Wait, have I said what my biggest pet peeve is?
What's your biggest pet peeve of mine?
I don't know.
Let's go. Come on, drag me right here in front of everyone.
Come on, Heidi.
You know what? I think just connected to that. Okay, I can say this, but we're learning. I don't even know if it's called a pet peeve, but like a thing.
Dave's ready.
I would have to say it's that sometimes I don't know how you feel about something until later, right? And so we're learning to bring things up sooner. So kind of like, I mean, that coffee thing was great. Like I've been doing this for a year, and I didn't find out for a year.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the other night, remember you were a little bit frustrated about something, and I didn't know until 5 hours later. And I'm like, man, I would have like changed how I approached it.
No, this is, by the way, though, this is one of those things where there's muscle memory that you have in relationships from your past. And right, like Rachel and I talked all the time when we were married about the fact that we were codependent in not liking to bring things up with each other and not being confrontational. And as you try to like examine, okay, hey, what learning can I take out of the relationship that didn't end up the way that I wanted? This was one of those things of like, oh, you have to be comfortable to speak your mind when something comes up. And I am still like, that is a rusty muscle. It's not a thing that I am like every single day comfortable with. And so,
and on the flip side, Chris and I brought up, everything.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a thing for that person I didn't bring up.
No, by the way, I'm not yet used to the ease with which she is comfortable bringing things up, because I'm like, is something always wrong? What have I done? What is it? But that's just right. We are on opposite ends of a spectrum, and we're trying to come closer and closer to each other, where she is like really comfortable with radical candor, a thing that I love in an office setting, but I've never experienced in a personal relationship.
Radical candor, is that my hashtag?
Yeah, there's a great book by Kim Scott.
Is it called Radical
Candor? It's amazing, but like I've talked about it in business, but I've never employed it in a personal romantic relationship. And in part, it's because here's the thing. I am someone who plays a little bit more by ear, and she is far more a planner. She is someone who, like, if
is this a sharp left turn? Are we now going?
No. There's no turns here. But this is one of those. This is just an example of like our wiring, our ways are just different. Like we're different
in the best way.
But those things tend to balance each other out in really beautiful ways, as they help bring us both into somewhat of a more neutral spot of understanding. Yeah. But it just takes work.
You're right. And the planning thing, for example, to me, everything is a big deal. And I have a hard time identifying what's not a big deal and what I shouldn't worry about. And Dave is very much like, nothing matters. Like nothing's a big deal.
We're together, Heidi. It's okay.
So, we'll be fine.
He does calm me down in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I light a fire for him in a lot of ways.
And
what is happening in January of 2022? We have not figured it out yet. I'm like, I don't know what's happening on Tuesday next week. I can't get that far.
I don't even know what's happening at 4:00 today.
I don't.
Right. Like I at this point, I'm taking my life 1 hour at a time. Some days it's 15-minute segments at a time, baby steps.
Yeah.
So, you guys are, public figures. You have such a huge following, but if you both had, and I know you guys have many friends that are also public figures, but putting you on the spot, if you both had to choose one person that is your favorite person to follow, whether they're super inspiring or hilarious, or they just give you good information, if you had to choose one person, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, who's your one person? Like when you get up, not that you have time, if you're scrolling, you're going to check their stories, you're going to check their status, who would it be?
Yeah, okay, so I got to take off my shoes for this one.
Oh, wow, it's getting serious in this bar.
Serious.
So truly, this is real. There is one person that I actually check every day, and it's only him. I'm not even kidding you. I will go
You're so sweet.
I'm serious. And most of the reason is because I know that social media doesn't have me feeling great all the time, But I would say this person, if I had to pick somebody right now, this is ever changing. Right now, my human crush is Mel Robbins.
Oh,
I love her.
The 5. Yeah. The 5 count.
And the reason why is because she just says it how it is, and she doesn't care what anybody thinks. And that, to me, we talked about freedom. That is freedom, and I think freedom equates to happiness and peace. So when I see her, I met her and just saw how she was, and she just exists in a room. She's just her, and she says what's on her mind, no matter what. And is almost unfazed by what anybody else thinks, and that's the way I want to live my life.
Yeah, we were just all together. I was having a conversation with Brendan Burchard, and we defined freedom as the ability to be completely 100% yourself, free from social pressure and self-doubt.
And she
is someone who, free from social pressure or self-doubt, shows up just as she is. She's having a good day. She's having a good day. She's upset. There is something so beautiful in that. If there was someone to learn from or be mentored by, in this season for me, I am stepping more and more into who I want to be and who I know God's put me here to be. And I still worry about what strangers on the internet say. I need to be more like Mel every single day. The person in real time for me that I just know it is a guarantee. I can be pushed to think about something. I can be encouraged by something. It's a guy named Carlos Whitaker, who out of Nashville is just, he's creating something of a movement around something called Insta Familia, where he just has this following of people. He happens to be faith-based, happens to be someone who's just trying to bring some light to the world, but also as a person willing to push into hard conversations around social justice. He has a way to be somewhat of a bridge building empathy creator for someone who may not have a shared point of view or worldview. He's able to welcome someone in and say, hey, just walk with me in this and let me help you understand why people are feeling this way or are worried about this kind of thing. Anyway, Carlos Whitaker, Los Wits on Instagram. He's awesome.
I love that. Those are both great examples. And I have to, and this past year, I've gotten that courage too. So my business partner, Abby Johnson, is just one of those people that it is that level of freedom. It's only really caring about what God thinks of you, sharing your truth, being unapologetically yourself. And you can love me, take it or leave it, but this is me. And so I think those are the type of people, especially like Heidi, like you were saying with social media, it can be a rough place, right? It's like, buckle up. Okay. Do I want to check the comment thread? Do I want to read my inbox? And when you're at that, it makes it easier. It's still hard, but when you're in that zone, it makes it a bit easier, right?
It does. I like, as you were saying that, like that gives me chills because I know that's where I am happy, right? Yes. So good. So cool. I think we all need people like that in our lives. Really people that validate that we are lovable and we're enough no matter who we are.
Right.
We don't have to be try to be anyone that we think they want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just always be reminded that the people that are throwing rocks are probably more a reflection of what's wrong inside their world than something that is actually wrong with you. And as much as it's easy to intellectually understand, emotionally, it's hard to process sometimes, but these are the things. You can't create any kind of impact without also taking on criticism. And that's just part of the price of entry of doing this work.
It's so true. And, speaking of saying you're sorry, who is the first to cave? If you guys are in a little tiff, let's call it a tiff or a disagreement, who is the first to cave, to say, I'm sorry, or not even I'm sorry, just to kind of break the ice on.
Who's the first?
Probably. Are you going to say it? Or am I going to say it? Probably. Yeah. It's probably the big guy. The big guy.
He's so good.
I'm a lose the battle, win the war kind of person.
I'll tell you that.
Dave gives off that vibe of that guy.
He really is the best man I've ever met in my life.
Oh my gosh.
You
are so sweet.
I only speak the truth.
You are so
You're
sweet.
great.
I am so lucky to have you in my life.
I'm lucky. I love you.
Don't kiss me.
I wasn't going to.
I saw you making those eyes. Goodness gracious. It's like lunchtime.
Oh my God.
Kid, come on.
Well,
control yourself.
And I know you two, when you're together and you're cozying up at night,
Sorry, go ahead. He's making me laugh.
I love it. This is real. What's your favorite Netflix series to watch together?
Hold on. I just learned what Netflix was. True story. When I started dating him, he taught me that there's a Netflix button on the remote. So I don't even know what things go on Netflix. What's my favorite Netflix? Is Ted Lasso Netflix?
So when we first, this is interesting because we both prior to being in this relationship, we did not have a relationship with television for the most part. And so this has been a nice return to television and forced breaks in work. Yes. So one of the first things we did when we were dating was watch the entire series of Breaking Bad,
which was so gruesome for me.
Fantastic.
Like I was I had not seen that much blood like in one episode as I had my entire life.
No, we're watching Ted Lasso right now and a fantastic series called Succession.
Yes, so but Succession's taking us so long.
It's taking us a long
time. But it's like
really
deep.
Good. Yeah,
you got to think. You got to be on your feet for Succession.
Well, okay. So speaking of movies, if someone were to do a movie on you, so you both have to answer, who would play you?
So we played this game when we started dating.
Yeah.
And it not even started because it went through a couple like breaks that we took early on. But every day, even when we were friends, every single day we would ask each other, we would take turns asking a deep question and then we would answer it. One of our questions.
Deep. Is the key word here.
This was our more surfacey question.
What? Yeah.
But we said, who would play you in a movie about your life? So I already know the answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. So mine, so I actually chose two. Remember, I said, okay, looks wise, I get more people saying I look like Kristen Cavallari. So that might be looks wise. But I said I would want, but I would want Julia Roberts. I got the big mouth like Julia Roberts, so I would pick her.
I like that.
Oh my gosh, you have the bone structure, the smile of Julia. That's, yes, so I like that.
I would make them have a baby, and then that.
Right.
And I picked Ben Affleck because he and I both have had plenty of weight fluctuations and facial hair changes over time. And so you can take Ben, that crazy picture of him smoking with a grimace on his face. That was a season of my life. There's then like Ben when he's with J-Lo the first time. That's more skinny, muscular me right
Reynolds
now.
And Ben have a baby? Because Ryan's sense of humor would, I think, fit with you.
I'd take Ryan Reynolds can play me in anything. He doesn't look like me at all, but like sensibility-wise and humor-wise, I'll take Ryan Reynolds all day long.
He's not going to object. I love it. I love it. And so have you guys, and I know I've watched you've taken the kids and you've done, some smaller trips, but if you could choose for the 10 of you, like dream destination vacay, where would you go?
I got it.
All 10.
What do you want? What would you pick?
I would pick Ryan Reynolds taking the trip with Heidi so that I could. No, I'm kidding.
FaceTime me in, guys.
Oh Lord, I'm sorry. No, of course I look forward to traveling with 8 kids to a destination. That sounds awesome. I would want to go to. I mean, like the thing is, the beach was great because of the way that they all could entertain themselves. I want to go somewhere that allows them to play and like be like adventure-y together. So like,
I got your place.
What is the place?
We need to go to Dubai. So we did a family trip to Dubai a few years back, and we were actually hired by the Board of Tourism to go to Dubai and play and do everything. So they had all of the main attractions set up for us. We got to do a safari. We got to like a desert safari. We went to the largest indoor theme park. Biggest roller coaster. I mean, like, it was amazing. There was never a shortage of things to do. Kids would love it.
All right.
It's a long flight.
The flight itself, is a thing that would be challenging. I have a 4-year-old.
Flight. Well, yeah, Noah on the flight. I have like holy water on flights. I'm just not a flyer. I couldn't do Dubai.
A 17-hour flight with a 4-year-old. That sounds amazing. God. I'm sorry, I have to get in a better mood because we're talking about traveling with 8 kids.
This is the thing that I have to like hype them up for. So when we went to California, I had to be like, we're going to Disneyland. Like, it'll make the kids' lives. He's like, no, we're not. I said, yes, we are.
It was such a great day. And then it was almost the last day that we were dating by midnight that night. It was like just by a hair did we miss it.
Well, God, it's like true. I remember when
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It was such a glorious day, and then
everywhere. Like when we took our kids to Disney World, we saved up. We're like, this is going to be the most beautiful, magical trip in the world. And then, like 3 hours in, we're like, oh my God, what did we do?
Well, you're right. And here, when you have all 8 kids together in a high energy situation like that, what it does is it shines a spotlight on parenting differences. And for a couple that's blending families, it was interesting.
Yeah. We got to spend some time talking about discipline and how one does and one doesn't.
But it needed to happen. Like the thing is, these needed to come up.
Just a parenting tip: if you end up trying to take 8 kids literally anywhere, just try to get home by bedtime, because getting home after bedtime, especially if you have a 4-year-old, I'm gonna just give you the heads up. It's not gonna turn out well. It just is not gonna turn out well. They'll be overtired, all hopped up on sugar. And you're living in a house with a bunch of other people down by a river, forget it. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, that's great. Well, so, I have 2 more questions for you guys. One is, most people ask you, talk to me 5 years from now, but I'm just going to be the oddball. I'm going to say 6 years from now. What does 6 years from today, what does your day look like with you both?
Okay, so let's think about how old the kids are.
No.
Noah's 10. We have a lot of kids. The older 4 are out of the house.
Older 4
in
are out
6
of the
years.
house. Yeah.
We have the
my
younger
God.
4. We
Oh my
have
God. Yeah.
Ford, Noah, Cash, and Ruby.
Yeah.
All
Well, what's
right.
interesting is there was a part of like thinking about how life might work in a version of us being together forever and getting married and all the rest that had this like conventional, traditional brain of mine thinking, oh, well, it has to happen in this way in one place.
Mhm.
And I think that figuring out unconventional normal in our world has us having to consider the way that our co-parenting relationships in different states existing are likely to exist for some time, making 2 states a thing that is likely to be present 6 years from now as much as it is today. And so my immediate like reaction to the answer is our day 6 years from now is probably going to look somewhat similar to the way it looks today.
It's true.
In that,
but I will say 6 years from now is a really interesting year. Had you said 5, we would have had to consider more kids. But my 2 oldest are my first marriage, and my 2 youngest are my second marriage, and it's a slightly different dynamic with those kids and Chris as the dad. Their dad who travels often for work. There's a much higher chance that by that point we might be in one location.
Don't know. What's interesting when life ends up taking a turn that you do not expect. I used to have a very religious 5-year, 10-year vision casting kind of thing in my life. And maybe it'll grow back, but I am very much in a take things as they come, 6 to 12 months of time in the future, embrace the fun of not actually knowing exactly what's going to happen. Like I'm still interested in fully actualizing this person I've been placed on this planet to be by God. But I don't have the hubris to think that I have either the control or the wherewithal to actually cast a vision for what that looks like. I just get to be excited about having it revealed over time. And there's some freedom in that, because I definitely was someone who thought that I know how it's going to turn out, and I know what I need to do, and I know how it's going to happen today or next week or whatever. And once you know that, oh, something can happen that just completely upends what you think will happen, it gives you permission to kind of just take it as it comes, which is beautiful.
Well, I agree with you, right? So I've never been much of a and this might be a bad thing to a lot of people listening. I never have been somebody who is like, this is where I'm going to be in 10 years and I'm going to be right here. Why? Because I know that anytime I've said, this is where I want to be, it's more of a, when I get here, then I'll be happy. And I've gotten there and I'm no happier. Right. So I have learned over time that for me, joy and peace comes from when I can forecast ahead how I want to feel and how I want my foundational and core values to be prioritized. We've talked a lot about that. Like, I know what I want to be important in 6 years. I do. I know what I want to be important in 10 and in 20. And I know the kinds of relationships I want to have with my kids. I know the kinds of relationships I want to have with the person that I'm with. Hopefully you, right? I know what I want love to be like. I don't know what it looks like, but I know how I want to feel. And I think as long as that is my guiding marker, however it looks, I'm actually excited to see how it looks.
Oh, I love that. Good answer, guys. Oh, I love it. Well, okay. So as we wrap here, share with us one thing that most people do not know about you. Because you lead very public lives.
You don't leave much to the imagination.
One thing that you just think most people just would not really peg me for this or know this about me. What do you think?
I mean, I think for me, I'm a lot more introverted than I think people would think.
I agree.
Because I am happy to be a ham on a stage or in front of a camera. But I'm actually pretty reserved and quiet when I'm not. And as much as like I can go to an event and run for mayor, I I'm pretty like in a kind of like a cocktail party kind of setting. It takes a little bit of work for me to want to be that outgoing person. I think people will be surprised by that.
I think you're right. I think one thing about me, gosh, I don't know. I maybe I would say, I know, well, to the world, people see me on Instagram as obviously a fitness professional and a fun-loving, easygoing person, and I am. But also, what I don't think the world knows is I am much more of a business brain, and I enjoy business much more than I like the business aspect of everything that we're doing, far more. And I think that's what my natural born skill set is. Compared to everything else, far more than I do any other part of what I do. And I love everything that I do, but that strategic business part of my brain that's I think one of my gifts.
You're a killer.
Well, I don't know if I'm a killer.
It's a compliment. You are. You're awesome.
You're a killer, Heidi. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, you know, guys, this was so much fun, and I know how crazy busy you are. We've been working for a while to get you on here with your schedule. But I appreciate how authentic you are. You guys are the epitome of the real deal of parenting. And what I want to do is, after we end, I want to link below this for all of our community. I want to link Dave's book. And this is not like a push for, this is true. And Heidi, someone from your team setting me up so I can have my own, like the real deal of parenting, we can have our own affiliate link. I became obsessed with your pina colada boost.
Oh, good. I'm so happy.
I'm 2 months in. It's like
that
by
makes me happy.
So good.
I need it. And this isn't a sales. This is like legit part of my life. 5 children. I need my boost by 10:30 a.m. And so,
gosh, you are speaking her love language. Oh my
gosh. Yes. So every mother and father needs it in their life. Yeah. What's that?
I'll send you some for free. You're getting some for free. You just made my day.
I love it. I need it.
That's one of his pet peeves with me is that I'm always talking about how good our products are.
But
you're holding a pen that is blowing up all over your hands.
But guys, it's true. I've tried so many energy drinks as a mom. I'm like, and then there's too much coffee.
So good.
Like workouts, and then I'm like, okay, pina colada. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try her product. 2 months, I'm hooked. I'm grumpy if I don't have it. So anyways, I'm going to link that below this. I'm going to link Dave's book. You two are fabulous. We just all enjoy you so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Reg. Appreciate that.
I'm going to be expecting a Halloween photo for me to share.
It's coming.
It's coming. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. Take care.